Yo, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Zen Lounge. I have a different style video today. I'm gonna be sharing with you guys. I'm gonna be talking about CBDCs. I'm gonna be talking about the Great Reset. I'm gonna be talking about some crucial topics that you need to be aware of living through this generation. And we're gonna be talking also. I'm sure you guys have seen on the news all the stories about the bank collapses and the bank failures. And Silicon Valley Bank was a good example of a bank that just collapsed. And a lot of people have been talking about these type of situations happening, and they're finally starting to happen. So let me basically go over some of the things that are happening in the world so you guys are aware. Because you gotta have reasons to be involved in cryptocurrency, right? So here's an article. You should be mad about the chaotic and swift collapse of Silicon Valley Bank. A lot of people weren't predicting this to happen, and it happened. And there's a lot of other banks at the moment that are not safe either. Like we've been trained through a lot of our lives that the banks are safe, that someone else holding your money is safe. And I believe that the power structures that be actually want people to go into decentralized finance. So, there's going to be a lot of pain for people who choose to stay in the centralized system and not migrate over to basically becoming sovereign, basically taking custody of their assets and um, taking back control of their assets. And those people that go DeFi will not only have more freedom, but probably more wealth than the people that stick with the centralized systems. So this is the beginning, I believe, of a domino effect. How long will this domino keep falling down? I have no idea how long this domino is going to keep falling down, but let me go over some more things. The reason I said, hey, this could just be the beginning, this could just be the start of, serious domino effect. European Central Bank warns minister EU banks could be vulnerable. And I've seen lots of other reports on this. I've heard like there's 100 banks that have similar issues as Silicon Valley Bank. So it's important to look back in history. Look back in history. About 100 years ago, there was a time period called the Warring 20s. The Warring 20s. There was a big, speculative stock market boom. Everybody was getting rich. Everybody thought they were the next Warren Buffett, and then basically tons of bank failures happened, and it basically kickstarted the Great Depression starting around 1928, 29, and 1930s. There was the Great Depression that happened due to the failures of banks, and a lot of the similar things that happened back then are happening today. Banks extending too much credit, being over leveraged. This is what also a lot of the big crypto people made mistakes in. Banks didn't maintain adequate reserves. We've seen that. This is one of the things that happened with the Great Depression. We've seen this, and we've talked about proof of solvency, the technology that could solve this issue so a corruption can't happen. And you also have to we learn about the past. What's important is you have to learn about now. You have to learn about now. So there's a organization called the World Economic Forum. They want a cashless society, and they actually have a quote: "You will own nothing and you will be happy." Um, so do we want to make sure that we're studying what these people do if we know that they literally are, looking at us as their enemy? They want us to be broke and poor. We have to be paying attention. We have to be paying attention. Like if we have to be paying attention to what the World Economic Forum is doing, so we could be one step ahead and be defensive. So if we actually look, you could say, "Oh, I'm a conspiracy theorist," or you could actually look. They actually have a paper on their website towards a cashless society. So did you guys know the question is no longer if digital cash will arrive, but when and how? Today's 90% of central banks are developing a central bank digital currency, and 62% are experimenting at proof of concept stage. The share of countries developing a CBDC or running a pilot doubled from 14 to 26% between 2020 and 2021. The numbers are way higher now. This is old. Interesting, about 76% of nations working on retail CBDCs are exploring interoperability. Let's go on to the next page. So we can kind of look at a map that shows us all the different highlights. So this red, retail pilot completed, blue, there's retail research in the United States. This is old though. So the main point is the agenda for cashless society. I mean, that's been talked about since the Bible, right? Is actually these people in the World Economic Forum want that for the world. Now, before you panic and before you freak out, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. You can notice there's a lot of cryptocurrencies projects talking about banking the unbanked because there's 1.4 billion people in the world, over 20% of the population that's unbanked. And many people worldwide still rely heavily on cash, particularly elderly and those who use cash for small payments. So there's a bunch of reasons why cash is still needed right now, including a lot of the digital payment systems are also vulnerable to hacks and cyber attacks. So basically, there's a lot of reasons why cash. So this is not like a fear mongering YouTube video. This is a you have time to prepare. How much time? I don't know, but it's not going to happen as fast as some accounts are scaring people because people were scaring people back 2 or 3 years ago like it was going to happen tomorrow, and this transition still hasn't happened. So let me just pause on this presentation real quick to talk about my personal journey, because one of the reasons I became so passionate researching cryptocurrency was during the time when basically the world shut down due to a germ, and that germ basically led people to create the narrative that cash is dirty and people were exchanging their coins. There was a coin shortage. And also people no longer could have paper menus in my city. You had to use a QR code just to order food. And I just thought, okay, QR payment, cashless is what's coming next. They built a new arena in my city. It's all cashless. So they're pushing the world to cashless. And I knew that back then that it was coming, and I've been preparing ever since. So let me show you guys. So what we have to also understand is that the world works. This is the ancient symbol, the yin yang. So as the world becomes more centralized, as there's more tyranny, we just talked about CBDCs. What does CBDC stand for? Centralized, central bank digital currencies. The first word is central. It's centralized. So everybody has free will. We have to remember that. And I believe there are still going to be options. Yes, CBDCs could potentially be a nightmare. However, with one side, so let's say the black is the CBDCs, social media accounts getting censored, you losing your free speech, your bank account getting frozen, the centralized overlords, controlling every this is the centralized overlords in the black. In the white, there's always, I'm actually going to prove this, Newton's third law, there's always a reaction, there's always the flip of the coin. And what we've seen, let me skip ahead a few. So for example, when the big financial crash happened in 2008, a response happened. Bitcoin was created, which gave people a different alternative, gave people an option to go and invest in something different, another form of currency. And if we look at Newton's third law, for every action, there is an opposite reaction. For every reaction is opposite reaction. So that's important. So as these central bankers, try to basically, we have to still have hope for humanity and hope for, the human spirit. The human spirit is very powerful. And the more that they try to, let's picture the centralized overlords and octopus wrapping and they're wrapping us with centralization. That's going to inspire a reaction from people, coders, hackers, white hats, to basically fight against that and to create different options, create decentralized options. And we've seen that as people become more, there was a bunch of people a few years ago had their social media accounts banned. Now here in 2023, I could name so many decentralized, censor-resistant social media applications built on blockchains where that won't happen, where you actually own your social media account and you actually get revenue for the traffic you bring and the engagement you get on your platform via these decentralized platforms. So there's always, the yin yang, as one side is over here, there's another side. So a lot of people are asleep, they're not paying attention, and they will accept, central bank digital currencies. And there'll be a whole other group of people, paving the way for a DeFi renaissance, a DeFi revolution where people choose the opposite of the centralized timeline. They're going to choose to basically decentralize their life. And the more centralized things become, the more tools available to us to go decentralized will also happen, because that's the Newton's third law effect. You could see this happening time and time again. So following the 2008 global financial crisis, the world's first digital cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, was proposed. The introduced platform allowed peer-to-peer transactions to take place, limiting the need for intermediary financial authorities, being the first decentralized commercial system of its kind. So that was the reaction to people discovering, because what happened was during this time, I was a researcher during this time period too, but what happened was during the 2008 global financial crisis, a lot of people lost everything. And then they were basically at home and they were able to go online, and people were researching how the collapse happened, and they started to learn how corrupt the system was. And a bunch of people were inspired to create alternatives But just as, people get all scared and give you all these fear tactics about central bank digital currencies, they have to understand that there's also a sovereign timeline where you could own digital assets and own your assets and still have freedom, I believe. And here's another example of an action and a reaction. So a lot of times when the government tries to fear the people into selling their crypto, like when they make a news article saying crypto is going to be banned, here's data from Binance. At least from our data from India, it shows it actually causes more people to invest in crypto because they want to get in before the ban comes. So they say they want to ban Bitcoin to scare people, but the reaction is a bunch of people go and buy Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies before the ban comes in because they want to get their hands on it. It's like the last chance. So something else that I read about recently in the past 2 months. So we were talking about all these bank failures, and basically a lot of people are losing certainty in the banking system, right? And a lot more people are talking to me about getting interested in crypto again. So I've been noticing that like a lot more people are getting back in touch with me, wanting to learn about crypto. And also I've noticed that what else have I noticed? So a lot of people, I believe it's because a lot of people are seeing how the financial system that they once believed, especially my generation, they not only like don't trust it and don't believe it anymore, they despise it. They want to see the current financial system burn and crush to the ground, like our generation. So if you see this, when people are frustrated with the current financial system, in the past 2 months, the past 60 days, there's been 1.7 million new Bitcoin addresses opened. 1.7 million new Bitcoin wallets opened in the past 2 months. That's something I read. A lot of people are fed up. We talk about scam coins all the time in cryptocurrency. Well, let's talk about a scam coin that everybody is brainwashed by and, believes in the most is the US dollar. This is funny. These scam coins are getting crazy. Someone just showed me 27 trillion in circulation, unlimited supply cap, only one node, 25% supply minted in the last 6 months. 1% of the holders own 30%. JK, that's the US dollar. So what's amazing is we've always been in a system where we all had to agree on this system, right? We had no other option. Now people have options, and people are going to be tribalistic, and people, just like sports fans, are going to pick their favorite networks and blockchains and coins, and people will debate over which ones are better. And isn't that the beautiful thing? Every single developer that I talk to and every single big name person that I talk to, they'll tell you one thing, that the future is multi-chain. So the maximalism is, in my opinion, from the people in the industry themselves talking about this stuff, is foolish. So maximalism is foolish. Future is multi-chain, and that's what's beautiful is people are going to be able to be in what resonates with them, and people are going to be able to have all types of options. Some people could go to the movies right now and use Shiba as a coin. I'm not endorsing Shiba. I'm more into utility assets, but isn't that cool that people now have a different option than this system, this centralized system? People could choose whatever one they want. And not only do they get to choose, they get to read about it. They get to read the white paper before they opt in and find out, is the token inflationary? Is it deflationary? All how they can look on the blockchain and see exactly who holds it, and you can learn so much before opting into one of these networks or one of these currencies you use. So much more flexibility than the system that we're used to, and that's the beautiful thing. So we have to remember, this is a powerful quote to end this video. Fate and free will are equally powerful forces, but I consider free will to be more important. That it is your free will that determines your fate. So a lot of people have lost hope. A lot of people have given up, and they just are accepting the CBDC, timeline where, basically slavery to the central bankers is a possibility. And I challenge that. And I challenge that we have free will to choose something different for ourselves. And if you do research and you basically search, you will find. There's quotes in the Bible. You knock and seek and you shall find, right? So if you're seeking for an alternative to this financial system, you'll start learning about gold, silver, precious metals, assets that you can hold in your hand that people can't seize from your bank accounts. Then you'll learn about getting a hardware wallet and private keys and taking custody of your digital assets. So you have your digital assets. Don't have to worry about an exchange going down or someone hacking your wallet on the internet. You'll be on the blockchain, safe and secure. So the moment that you decide that you want something different and that you're in charge of your fate and that you can be free and you can have censor resistant communication, then all of a sudden your mind and God will lead you to, a tool or a resource that can help you achieve what you want. So in the Zen Lounge, I always teach empowering messages and not to be a victim of circumstances. Many people around us who are not, we all know them. You guys could probably name a bunch of friends, family members. You tell them all about cryptocurrency decentralization. They do not care, and they're not going to care until the pain comes. When the pain comes, everyone's going to care. And thank gosh, there's people like us researching these alternatives. So when the time comes and there's some real bank failures, like in the Great Depression, like we learned about earlier in the 1929s, 1930s, that collapsed and crushed a lot of people. Remember, on the flip side of the coin, yin and yang, a lot of people lost a lot of money. There was a few that made fortunes during that time period. So you have to be careful with your focus. A lot of people talk about doom, crashes, market crashes. That's easy to talk about, but who are the few people? How are you going to become the few people that make it big when those situations happen? Are you prepared? Are you learning? And are you in control of your fate? Because you have free will of your fate and you're not a victim to these centralized overlords. There's so many tools. I need to have like, I'm going to do a video on YouTube showing some of these tools that are being developed. There's like No Lands developing censorship resistant communication tools and organization tools. And there's so many different projects working on solutions to fight back against the centralized overlords. So we need more people to step up and be strong during these times and not be weak and giving up to these this timeline, right? So everyone have an awesome day, and hopefully you guys enjoy this message. Peace. Well, let me finish one thing actually. So the whole reason, another reason why I want to make this video is basically to show people how important, decentralized learning crypto is. And, we're all in the right place during this time. I know it's been a brutal bear market. It's been a brutal bear market. And everyone that's still watching my videos, have been determined and pushed through it. And this type of information remembers why it's all going to be worth it. Freedom, being sovereign, uh, from this, control grid is going to be priceless. And many people are going to thank you for, learning all this when you're teaching them how to get into DeFi, because as inflation and things get possibly worse, like you saw the egg prices go up. You saw egg prices go up. You saw all these things. The price of living keeps going up, and your income really isn't going up as fast. So a lot of people are getting squeezed, and their credit card bills are going higher and higher. Their bills are going higher. A lot of people are struggling. So to learn about, getting passive income, airdrops, learning, all about this stuff could potentially, save a lot of people's lives coming next bull market. So this is like some of the deeper reasons why I come on here and do educational videos and share my research with everyone, because I don't know how far of a ripple effect these videos can go. And I've had so many, testimonials and messages from people saying that I've helped them and gave them hope for their future and made them believe that there's better things coming. And that's what I do it for, giving people hope. There's a lot of reasons to be scared of the future. There's also a lot of reasons to be excited. And this technology, decentralization, like we're living through probably the greatest revolution ever known. We're giving power back to the people, and you are privileged and blessed to be here when this is all going down. When this is all going down. So everybody have an awesome day and peace.